Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, so here we are for another week of fantastic questions. It's been a little while. I think it's been 2 weeks since we did this. I was away last week. I was at the European Kendo Championships in Beauvais, France. Why was I there? I was there waving flags around, shimpanning, being a referee. It was cool. Really, really amazing, fantastic, wonderful experience. I'm really grateful to the EKF, that's the European Kendo Federation, for giving me the opportunity. I'll talk about it more shortly, but because of that, we missed last week. We've got some questions this week, though. There's not that many, so it could be a nice length episode today, not too long. But before we jump into them, like, share, and subscribe. Do the YouTube thing. Post a comment down below. Help us raise that figure. I think we've had something like 876 people start Kendo, because you wonderful, wonderful people have gone into these videos and you've commented, this is the best Kendo video I've ever seen, and things like that. Words to those of that effect. What that does, you see, is people who are on the sort of periphery, on the sidelines. Oh, I'm interested in doing something new, and they look at all these different things, and they might look at something that's slightly related to Kendo, and then this video gets suggested to them, or one of the other videos on this channel, and they go, wow, Kendo looks amazing. I'm going to go and start Kendo. And thanks to you, because of your wonderful comment, you've helped increase that number. So let's try and get that number over 900 or even over 1,000. Let's aim for 1,056 or 7 new Kendo people that have probably started due to the reasons I've just stated. All right? It is only probably, but I think the probability is pretty high, is my personal opinion. If you like the videos, if you like the channel, if you like this content that I'm putting out, we have these Kendo rants every week. We have Kendo analysis videos. I've got some analysis videos to do. Haven't had time to do them this week. I'll probably do them next week. We've got instructional stuff, the new series, Kendo Zero to Sandan, following from Kendo Zero to Shodan, is in the works as well. We've already got 1 episode out there. And there's more. I'm going to do a proper video about how it was being a Shimpan at the European Kendo Championships too. My first time experiencing refereeing at an international level like that. What it was like. We're going to talk a little bit about it today because there's a question about it. But all of these videos come to you and they're free of charge. All you have to do to keep them coming, show your support, is shop at kendostar.com, and it's a win-win situation for you because KendoStar is the best Kendo equipment website in the entire history of mankind, in the galaxy, solar system, Milky Way, universe, multiverse, Marvel Cinematic Universe. All of them, all right? Every single existence that's ever been, KendoStar is the best. Now, of course, I would say that because I own the place. I own it, so of course I'd say that, but everyone agrees with me. So, forget the pretenders. Don't mess with these little sideshow one-man bands. Go to the best place, KendoStar.com. You'll come to us in the end anyway. It's invariably the case. Just don't waste your money in the first instance. Right, let's get to the questions. Right, okay. It's Friday, guys. It's Friday. I've got Kendo this weekend as well. I'm all excited. Hi, Fish Sensei. I wonder if you'd be interested in translating, subtitling the Zero to Sandan series into other languages. I, for one, would love to share it with my students, but I'm afraid most of them don't speak English, and YouTube's automatic translation is simply too messy with all the Japanese terminology. It's my northern accent as well, isn't it? My northern English accent when I start talking like that and none of you can tell what I'm talking about. Good luck with that, YouTube's auto-translate. I could volunteer to help with Brazilian Portuguese subtitles, not a professional translator though. I'm sure people from all around the world could offer translations into other languages. I know it sounds risky since you can't proofread something in a language you don't understand, but I think it certainly would help spreading the Kendo Show, Kendo Style word around. Thank you for all your amazing work. Okay. Would I be interested in doing it? Yes, I would. I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it. And as a concept, it's simple. All right, it's simple. The fact of the matter is it takes an awful lot of time and work, all right? And it's difficult for me to allocate the time to do that. I don't even have properly transcribed subtitles in English at this point. I'll consider it, all right? Because once I get to that point, then I can have them translated into other languages and all that sort of thing. I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes. All right, because I don't want to make a promise that I can't keep. All right, but in principle, yes, I like the idea. In practice, is it really an easy or something that we're at the point of that we can do right now? I don't know. Keep chopping in Kendo Style. I can make a bigger team, and then I can dedicate more resources into that sort of thing. Okay, that's the answer to that. Is shop at Kendo Style. That's the answer to every question on this show. It's not. Anyway. Good day, Andy Sensei. I've received my Myrmidon Kote and I absolutely love them. This is going to be another plug for Kendo Style. Do you recommend doing anything to them before I wear them for the first time to Keiko, such as a little bit of mink oil to the palm? Also, on the left wrist area, feels a bit more stiff when I put them on. Is it normal and will it soft up after some uses? Thank you so much for a great quality product. My kid and I were hitting each other as hard as we could and absolutely can't feel a thing. Now she's pestering me to get her a Myrmidon set too. Okay, so you don't need to do anything. When they're straight, fresh out of the box, just get them to Keiko, get them used. The wrist areas will definitely soften up with use, so don't worry about that too much either. Give them a couple of weeks of use. They're gonna be super comfortable, and you're gonna love them even more than you do. Don't bash each other as hard as you can though. I don't want you to sort of miss and hurt yourselves, stuff like that. And depending on how old your kid is, your daughter, how old she is, we might have the Myrmidon in her size, but look at the new Sentinel Junior. It's pretty awesome and it's super protective as well. My daughter's got one of those. My younger daughter's got one of those. My elder daughter's using a different one. My elder daughter's using the Kensei at the moment, the made in Japan one. But my younger one is using the Sentinel Junior. It's her picture on the actual the product image as well. And it's super awesome. Hello, Chris Sensei. I caught the EKC live stream, a new Shimpan, very cool. Thank you. Which inspired me to work even harder on my Kendo. My third Dan is coming up next year, and I want to work especially on Seme. My question is, what sort of things can you do to make your opponent want to attack your men Kote Do without making it obvious and thus discouraging your opponent to attack you on your timing? Now, wouldn't it be nice if that was a question I could just say, well, just do this and it worked? It doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. The good news for you is for third Dan, Seme isn't really one of the criteria, or it shouldn't be. Third Dan is the final Dan where they're really looking at your technical ability over everything else. Okay, it's a technical assessment rather than the your ability to achieve effective Seme. So don't panic over that. But the answer's experience, I'm afraid, because it's all about how you're able to use your shinai, your ashitabaki, and your kamae to influence the decisions your opponent makes. So as you gain more experience, you'll realize that the Seme, to get to sort of what you're talking about, getting your opponent to attack, which is called hikidashi, it's not about like pretending that there's an opening and tricking them into thinking it. That isn't how it works. It works by putting them into a position where they have no other viable option other than to attack the place you want to attack, or lure them into essentially put them in that situation where the logical choice for them is likely to be attacking men Kote Do or that they feel under such pressure from you that they make attacks without being able to properly make a sort of judgment call as to whether it's the right decision or not, because they're feeling the pressure from your presence. It sounds like sort of cool Star Wars stuff using the Force and stuff. It's not so much that. It's more of a way of it's just how your experience impresses onto them. If I'm honest, it'll come with time. All right. Okay, next one. Hi, Andy. Welcome back. It's good to be back. Would it be great to hear your general reflections on the EKC, implementation of the Super ZDI rules, the level of Ken on display, and the different categories, the inclusion of commentary this year, and anything that surprised you, didn't expect, that kind of thing. So, as I said, I'm going to make a separate video talking especially about, or specifically about, my experience as a Shimpan at the EKC, because it was an absolutely brilliant experience. One of the best experiences I've had in my Kendo progression so far. I learned so much from it. I gained so much from it. Overall, in terms of my personal performance, did I make a few mistakes? Probably, yeah, I did. Did I make any really obvious glaring mistakes? Not that not to my sort of recollection. There were a couple of times I was probably a little bit too light on the flags, a little bit eager to give the points up, but the other two Shimpan called me out on it and didn't let me get away with that. So that was that. I think the points that generally awarded, I made the right decision on. I can't think of any that I sort of thought back on and thought maybe I'd made the wrong choice on that. There was a couple of things that were really difficult around Hansoku. So yeah, look, you're asking about, let's talk about that, the Super ZDI rules. So lots of people are calling the current rules or the new rules or the whatever, the provisional rules or the temporary rules, whatever, they're calling them the COVID rules, yeah. Which I think we should stop calling them, because they're here to stay. Right? For the most part, they're here to stay. The stuff around separating from Super ZDI, staying in Super ZDI for 1 breath or 3 seconds, that stuff's here to stay. That ain't going away. It's not... I think the last thing that might change is the idea of being able to... of shouting in close proximity. That might go back to what it was before. It might not. Because it's not... I think that's the last thing that's really related to the preventing the spread of infectious diseases, whereas the other stuff surrounds the idea of preventing time wasting. So yeah. So the implementation of the Super ZDI rules. So essentially, the main things that were happening, there was essentially 3 main areas where players were receiving penalties or warnings. First was not separating properly, all right? So were they properly separating? Where are my pens? I need to get those little shinai, I don't know, like Jose's got. Anyway, so from the Super ZDI, so when a mutual separation happens, they've got to separate to Torma, all right? Many players... the best is to separate in one smooth motion like this. Many players are still, and this is partly because the original Zenkennen video shows it like this, and then they changed how they want to do it and didn't communicate that super well. But anyway, so lots of players 1, 2 are trying to do this way, but what would happen is sort of 1 and then this sort of thing, and then this one gets the Hansoku because they haven't separated properly, all right? And sometimes that can be really a grey zone where like 1 kind of steps back and this one doesn't, and even though they go to Torma, this one steps forward, and this can still be the Hansoku for this one because they didn't engage in the mutual separation, even though that had sort of already begun. So that was 1. Second was just spending too much time here, longer than 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4 men and stuff like this. It's not necessarily Hansoku if it's not a Hansoku on one-off sort of thing, but spending there for too long, and then whether they do the Hikiwaza or whether they separate, you know, they're not allowed to stay there longer than that, all right? So it says that too. And then the other one, of course, was, and this is the grey zone because this is the one that really does go off the Shimpan's interpretation, but was surrounding not engaging in shobu by using the defensive posture. So as a general rule, if players were making a fully defensive posture like this and guarding everything pretty much except the Gyakudo and moving forward into the Mai and doing that a little bit too much, then that was often resulting in Hansoku. And again, that comes down to the interpretation of Shimpan. So it's an interesting thing. It's I don't think there was anybody that was overzealous on that, where they were like, oh, Hansoku sort of thing. The players had to do it a few times and look like they're trying to avoid fighting. All right. So there was that. I thought overall, as a general rule, the implementation of those rules were really, really good. There's clearly still some variance in the understanding of those rules amongst different countries. That's natural at the stage that we're at with a new rule like that. So hopefully championships like this will help that sort of spread more evenly. Level of kendo on display. It's kind of interesting. Obviously, there was some fantastic kendo on display. There was some kendo that was not necessarily kendo. So, yeah. What I was really interested by was like the junior matches. The junior matches were really awesome. There's massive variance in ability amongst players in the junior division, and it's not necessarily related to what country they're from. So even countries that have very, very sort of established and long kendo traditions, it wasn't necessarily the fact that their juniors were the best ones, and countries that were perhaps in the adult divisions not really well known for achieving placings in international tournaments. Sometimes they had juniors who were very, very strong. So there was really interesting variance there. The inclusion of commentary. I thought the commentary is a really interesting aspect in addition to the live stream. I like it. I like it as an idea. I think it's really, really interesting. And I think it really adds to it. And I'd like to see it kind of improved further in some respects. I think it'd be awesome if there was some way, I don't know how we could do this, but it'd be awesome if there was some way to like have more sort of connection between the Shiaijo and the commentary team. So even if there was a way, because obviously with kendo having so many grey areas, so if the commentary team had a sort of question perhaps for the Shiaijo, not during the match of course, but so that things could be made clearer for the understanding of the viewers. So let's say there's a grey zone Hansoku awarded. If like the reason for that Hansoku could then after the match, for example, or even during the match, a different, you know, it's not in you know, I'm not talking about stopping the match for the sake of it, but like there's a lot of people and a lot of Shimpan around the match that aren't necessarily involved in the match. So even if there was some way of communicating, maybe someone could communicate to the stream team, you know, oh, the Hansoku just now, or, you know, maybe the stream goes, oh, does anyone know what the Hansoku was for so we can inform the stream? Or maybe it was for this or something like that. And they could get a bit more of an informed decision rather than trying to guess. Because I saw a couple of times on the commentary that the commentary team were like, ooh, what's that Hansoku for? Maybe it was for this, maybe it was for that. And they don't necessarily have the same... they don't have access to the same information as the Shimpan do. And that's something else that I really learned myself as a Shimpan this time, is that there's, as a player or in the past, or as part of a coaching team when I was in Serbia, one thing that I didn't realise is actually the Shimpan team have access to a different or a sort of slightly different perspective in terms of the information that they've got available, because they've got these Shimpan Shunin, who are often these Hanshi Hachidan from Japan, who have met with them in the morning and are meeting with them between the matches to tell them, okay, when this happens, you have to give the Hansoku, or this Hansoku, maybe that you should have done in this way, or this time you should have done that. And it's not just the senses from Japan. So, you know, they have a little bit of an extra insight. You know, maybe they get told in the morning, look, yesterday we missed this quite a lot, so be extra careful for this, or something like that. And it'd just be nice if that could be communicated a bit more to the audience. Another thing that's interesting in this, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this topic, was I found out for the first time that there's as a Shimpan, there's a special rule for the European Championships that allows the Fukushin to call a Gogi, which in general Kendo rules, that's not normally supposed to happen. Normally only the Shushin is supposed to call a Gogi for the most part. There are some exceptions, but for the most part. Whereas in the European Championships, there's a special rule for that. It's different. And so in the past, I've even as a player, I've watched the Europeans or something, whatever, and been like, why is a Fukushin calling Gogi? They're not supposed to do that something. And I hadn't realised that that's a rule specifically for the Europeans. The reasoning behind that is it makes perfect sense too, is that it's not like the All Japan Championships where all of the Shimpan are basically Hachidan senseis, right? We're all different levels of experience. So, for example, for me, I'm still just the Rokudan, sixth dance, and it was the first time for me to do it. So I've got very little experience of refereeing at that level, and I'm the lowest grade that's acceptable for Shimpan, whereas other Shimpan in our group were seventh dan, and maybe they've done many times and even done in the World Championships. So, and it can be that as we move around, someone like me who's less experienced could be the Shushin, and someone very, very experienced could be the Fukushin, and there's things that I could miss that the more experienced Fukushin could be able to highlight. So for that reason, we have that rule, and it makes perfect sense having experienced it. And I think the last thing I'd say is, I thought it was, there was a lot of things that surprised me. Look, I did quite a lot of Shimpan in Japan at a lot of different levels, mainly of kids, to be honest, but of some adult Shiai as well, and university Shiai, which is very, very fast and dynamic and somewhat physical. But it's a totally different ballgame when you're refereeing an international tournament like the European Championships. There's a lot of things. I'll go into this more in the video that I'll make specifically about it. But there's a lot of things that happen in these matches that generally don't happen in Japanese matches. So especially between players that become very physical with each other. So there's occurrences that there was sometimes things that would happen. It's the first time for me to experience that as a Shimpan of a Shiai. So, you know, I didn't necessarily always know how to deal with it. And then I was fortunate to have, as I say, this is what I'm talking about, having extra perspective, is then I was able to receive the advice from the senior Shimpan as to how next time I could do better dealing with such a thing. But yeah, that was it. It was an awesome experience. I'm so grateful for having it. I had an awesome time and I learned so much. And yeah, it's definitely something that in the future I'll be, looking to put myself forward for again. I think I did a pretty good job overall. I think I was overall a beneficial member of our Shimpan group. That seemed to be the consensus as well. So thank you. Yeah, that's it. Okay, next one. Hello, Sensei. I can't even pronounce it. Hello, Sensei. I hope this finds you well. I was wondering how to get the most out of guest senseis. We've had other senseis come to our dojo as well as traveling to practice at other dojos. How do you get the most out of this? And lastly, what is the best way to clean the inside of your men? Thank you. Cool. So out of guest senseis, the best thing you can just do is just try your best and just do your best to listen to what they're saying and try to see if there's usually guest senseis. It depends on what sort of situation it is, but if they're coming to teach like a seminar or something like that, they'll often have a theme of what they're talking about. So try to take something away from that. But otherwise, just do your best and just be straight up about it. You don't need to. Obviously, you don't need to show off or anything or appeal or anything like that. But, you know, all you have to do is just do your best. And if you've got questions, ask them, because it's a good chance to get a different perspective than you might normally get. So if you've got something you're concerned about, have a little bit of a question about, it's a good chance to ask. About cleaning the inside of your men, it's a bit tricky, right? Because you've got to be really careful not to get the uchiwa, that's the hard bit around the, that fixes the cage, the men gun into the foot on the padding. That's like, it's leather and it's usually painted black and red. You've got to be really careful not to get that wet, all right? So the best thing to do is just use a damp cloth, all right? What you can do is after practice, make sure you wipe it down with your tenagu first, but obviously if you've been training hard, your tenagu is sweaty as well, so you could just be rubbing sweat onto it. But when you get home or whatever, use a damp cloth and just wipe the inside, wipe the uchiwa, and just wipe it and leave it to dry. There's nothing else you need to do, all right? Okay, last one. Hi, Andy Fish Sensei. I seem to cut men from too far away, and yesterday I was told by a sensei that I simply stomped my right foot down without using my left foot to push my lower body forward. He said this results in a lack of kikentai no ichi. Similarly, at a recent 8th Dan seminar, the sensei helped me understand my ideal cutting distance, and it's a lot closer than I thought, even in Kihon. Also, my senpai pointed out that in Jigeko I cut men from too far away. Instead, I need to learn how to cut from a closer distance. However, probably like most beginners, third kyu, I feel a lot of fear stepping in so close, so I stay away and end up cutting without meeting the criteria for ippon. Sensei, can you please give me some advice on how to come that fear of stepping into a closer distance? As always, thank you. So, first off, there's definitely some truth behind this, all right? You're probably not using your left leg properly to launch yourself forward to get that extra couple of inches to reach the target, all right? So that's that. So work on that first off, all right? Second, everybody's cutting distance is slightly different depending on their height, their physical ability, their age, all sorts of things, all right? So there's that as well. So you have to find that throughout your own sort of practice. Now, that might be that it's a little bit closer there, and it's a common thing. A lot of people, they end up cutting from too far away because they're a bit too hesitant to step in that little bit more. But you just got to be a bit more patient, all right? You just got to be a little bit more patient, all right? So you start here, yeah, like this, right? And then you start coming closer like this. And then obviously you're like third kyu, so it's not like super intense, yeah? But I mean, it is intense, but you know what I'm saying, right? And then where you might normally go sort of here and then try and hit, go here and then take another. Just take another, all right? And then hit, all right? Now, about getting over that fear, what are you afraid of? You're afraid of being hit. I'll let you into a secret. You've got the Borger. So even if you get hit, you're okay. Okay? It's okay. It's okay to get hit. It's okay to get hit. It's not fun, I get it. I know it sort of damages the ego a little bit. You want to hit them more than they hit you. I know. But when you're learning, especially at the level that you're at, and especially against your seniors, don't worry about it, right? You're better off hitting from the right distance, making a strike that at least would be able to meet the criteria, than throwing something that's sort of, you know, half-baked and won't quite get you across the line even if you make contact, all right? It's hard, right? But just accept it. Sometimes you're going to get hit, and sometimes it's going to happen when you really don't want it to, all right? Sometimes it's going to happen when you really don't want it to. But that's kendo for you, right? Utte hansei, utarete kansha. Okay, that's a Japanese kendo phrase. Hit and reflect, receive hits and be grateful. That's it. I think that's the key to it. I really do. Keep up the good work. Okay, we're at the end. Relatively short one today. I know I blabbed on a lot about my sort of Shimpan experience. I hope it was interesting. I'm going to make a separate video about it anyway, because I haven't really talked about it, everything. Because I think it'd be interesting, because it was such a new perspective to me that was like, there's so many things I just never even thought about or considered, so pretty cool. But yeah, that's it. I hope you have a fantastic weekend filled with kendo. See you next week. Bye-bye.